Hey, welcome back. It's Thirsty Thursday indeed on Liquid Lunch today. We're coming to you live as we do every single day, Monday to Friday, noon to 2, from the Guillot Tequila Studios. As you can tell, I got a little bit of a cold working today. I'm a little clogged. I went to Florida, went to Newsmax headquarters, came back and forth for 2 days, a little clogged. One way I like to knock that out of me is take a couple of Dayquils, 2 NyQuils on top of it, and then slug down some Guillot tequila. So I'm going to mix it up is when I usually have my first drink of the day, my favorite segment of the show. And today joining us again, 2 regulars who've been on the show before. On the right, Bill Cortese joins us. He's one of the foremost Republican strategists out there. Bill's also a Marine veteran. And Jeff Guillot has joined us before. He's a Democratic thought leader and strategist, and he's an expert on millennial retention. Which I guess it's hard to retain millennials these days because
it's getting harder.
Unless it's staring at their phone, they don't really have much attention. So guys, getting a lot of attention everywhere, and we try to look at different angles on all this stuff, is of course the impeachment. Nancy Pelosi said months ago it would have to be compelling and it would have to be bipartisan for her to move forward. To me, it's neither been compelling and it's definitely not bipartisan. But here's what she said today.
Wrongdoing strikes at the very heart of our Constitution, a separation of powers, 3 co-equal branches, each a check and balance on the other. A republic, if we can keep it, said Benjamin Franklin. Our democracy is what is at stake. The president leaves us no choice but to act, because he is trying to corrupt, once again, the election for his own benefit.
Jeff, I'm going to go to you first. Is our democracy really at stake here because some funding got held up for 4 days?
It's the position of the House of Representatives that Donald Trump is an existential threat to Homeland Security, that Donald Trump was engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors, and they are fast-tracking this thing in a way that I think a lot of people are very surprised by. But regardless of anything else, her position and that of the majority of the House of Representatives is that we have to move forward here. And you're noticing that public opinion is slowly moving towards a moment in time where there is a majority of Americans who believe that, 1, the president did in fact commit high crimes and misdemeanors, and 2, that he should be removed from office. And it seems that that's the Christmas present they're going to leave under Donald Trump's tree, is that they'll vote to impeach prior to in the next 20 days.
Billy, are a majority of Americans trending to being in favor of this? I don't
know about a majority of Americans. I mean, it depends what poll comes out. We have a new one every other day. But you want to talk about some of the swing state polls that you've seen? You've seen Donald Trump with a net improvement in some of these swing states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, places like that, where Democrats have overplayed their hand. And we've talked about this many times before. They had a window to move. They failed to do that. And I think they've overplayed their hand. They've kind of beat this to death. And I think people are turning against it now. And there is precedent for this. There's precedent when they went after Bill Clinton. There's even precedent when Republicans had investigation after investigation against Barack Obama. Nothing turned up, and voters turned against them. I think that's what you're seeing now. People are sick of it. All of these alleged scandals all kind of run into each other. It's investigation after investigation. People want Congress to deliver. They want UCMCA. They want things like that, a new NAFTA. And they feel that, I think, Congress hasn't delivered. They just haven't delivered.
Congress has certainly spent a whole lot of taxpayer time working on this problem when they could be making Americans' lives better. That is certainly true. And allow me to create the first moment of bipartisan agreement here, insofar as that there is no clear path to convicting the president in the U.S. Senate right now. And that speaks to a lot of these swing states.
I ring the bell when all 3 of us agree. I ring the bell. This is a big moment here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a pathway for Cory Gardner out in Colorado, or Senator McSally out in Arizona, or Susan Collins in Maine to be in a political position where they're going to vote to convict this guy as jurors in a Senate trial, which is, I guess, going to start in January. We haven't seen the moment in time yet. I think that's the danger with fast-tracking this, the way it's been moved so quickly. And the Republican witness before the Judiciary Committee said as much yesterday, that this is moving with the speed of a greased watermelon, and perhaps we should be a little more deliberative about this. But, again, it is the position of the Speaker and the position of Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, and the rest of the House Democrats that there is overwhelming and compelling evidence that the president of the United States acted in his own best interest, put the country second, committed high crimes and misdemeanors as described by the Constitution, and they had a whole bunch of smart guys out there telling us that yesterday.
Well, they had a whole bunch
of
of liberals,
and
even Jonathan Turley, who's a liberal and not a Trump lover. He said he didn't vote for him, but he actually said this is a fool's errand. You know what I mean? Like, this is, everyone knows. You know, we have David Eisenbach. He's a Columbia professor. He's our in-house presidential historian. Not one president in history that's gone through this process has been removed from office.
Right.
And we know that the Republicans are sitting there with the majority, Bill. This is just a waste. This is all theater.
Right. The reality here, though, is going to be the losers here are going to be swing district Democrats in the House and some of these very competitive Senate seats that are now going to have to account for something that really started in kind of the AOC wing. This was something pushed by AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and that group that forced the rest of the House caucus, the Democratic caucus, to move forward with this. They got way too far. I think everybody knew that they were going to arrive at this point from day one. They got way too far into this. They have no choice but to proceed with this now, and they're going to have to pay the political consequences for it.
I think the issue at hand, to your point, is that the empirical data is out there that this took place. And Congress feels compelled to act, but at the same time, impeachment, I think we can all agree, is inherently a political process, right?
Of course.
And politically, the American people just aren't there yet. At the end of the day, there's 48 Democratic senators. You're going to have to find a path to get 67 of the total 100 to vote for this, which has never happened in American history. Andrew Johnson was the closest in the post-Civil War era, lost by 1 vote. I don't see how it's ever going to be that close at this moment in time, unless, pardon the pun, there's some trump card up Nancy Pelosi's sleeve that is going to crystallize this moment in time for the American people and say, unequivocally and unabashedly, this guy needs to be kicked out of office. And in the hyper-partisan environment we live in, and also given the polling data that indicates that if Trump were to shoot someone in the middle of 350 Broadway, he'd probably still be popular among 80% of Republicans. It's tough to get there from a numbers perspective.
Well, the Trump card has been the smoking gun that we were told about in the Mueller report, the one we were talking about, we've heard about with impeachment proceedings that we still haven't seen. And the way the president is with, he tweets first and kind of thinks second, and the way some of, they've operated, you would have thought that at some point, with the way the subpoenas have flown, they would have found something.
You would have thought.
If anyone got investigated, any one of us, anyone we know got investigated for as long and as hard as they would have found something.
Right.
And to me, it's miraculous. We're going to take a quick break. You guys are going to hang with us. We're going to mix it up some more. We're going to come back and talk about Hillary Clinton. She had another tremendous coughing fit yesterday, and I guess we're going to talk about whether or not she's going to re-enter the race. We'll get these guys' views. We'll let you hear all about it. Take a quick break. Mix yourself up a cold one. We'll be back right after this.